Alright, this is a practice lecture, and it's on Get You Again games. Played on my car to discredit me in the public mind. That's called an ad hominem attack, right? Where you shift focus off of the facts and you attack the person's credibility, right? In some way, you get people to think he's crazy, or he's a false accuser, he's a liar, or a big joke, or whatever, right? Usually that's what they do. All right. Now, the main idea is you get the mind off the facts. So whenever I present factual information and analysis which is damaging to the goody-goody image of the United States that liars, want to believe, or if they don't want to believe, they at least want to propagate this to the masses, spread the propaganda, right? So the liars like the CIA and FBI will always manufacture an attack wave in social reality to manipulate the masses to get them to disbelieve. They always do. They're always working to create disbelief, right? I mean, I've been going through this for 32 years, literally 32 years, right? They'll never attack the facts because, one, that will only reinforce the facts, which they want people to forget all about. They want them to get their minds off of the facts. Two, an attack upon the facts may induce a rare few people to do a fact check, which will prove me right. Now, I say, although the 99% won't bother, right? And they won't even remember a single fact. They won't. They won't bother to remember a fact. They won't bother to look up a fact. People just won't. They couldn't be bothered, right? They won't make the effort, and they'll just believe what's being passed, right? Knowing no facts. That's the way it is. And they'll say, no, that's not true. You ask them, they won't know a single fact. So the liars will shift all focus off of the facts and onto a personal attack upon my credibility. That's the idea. If people are made to believe I'm not credible, then all the facts in the world don't matter a bit. All the facts and intelligent analysis will be totally displaced out of mind by a simple, stupid, bullshit ad hominem attack on credibility, which has nothing to do with the facts. But you can't believe him because he's unbelievable. Alright, so that's what they want to do all the time. And finally, experiments have proven that out of hundreds of facts presented to them, I've done this experiment probably upwards near 1,000 times, right? If you present like hundreds of facts to a person, one-on-one, interactively, the best way possible, right, where they can discuss things, they can, ask questions. The average person only remembers 3 that for some reason stand out the most. I mean, they could be trivial facts that they just happen to remember. Something about it stands out. Totally, like, almost nonsensical compared to the overall big picture. But they'll remember that. And they'll remember these with distortions, gross oversimplifications, and errors. Now, that's the case, but everyone will remember a simple ad hominem attack. This is what's going to stick in their mind. They won't remember the facts, but they'll remember this, especially if it's made it into a big wave in social reality, and it gets all that social reinforcement, it gets all that repetition, right? It gets people, especially if it's a mocking joke that makes me look like a fool, or an angry accusation of me being a false accuser, or any other sort of simple, poignant thing like anger or hate. The CIA uses that a lot. Get people all jacked up with anger, then they won't believe anything. Right? And it'll stand out in mind, anger, hate, a joke. That'll stick. No facts. So the basic idea of a Get You Again game is this. The basic idea of a Get You Again game is to do harm to a person or provoke them, right, in a way which will get them to react or respond or complain or retaliate in some predictable way, right? This this is the games the CIA play. They play head games. They know how you're going to respond, right? Man, my brother was like this when I was a kid. My older brother, he would play little head games, right? As a young kid, he would. Anyways, that's kind of funny. And then the liars will use their victim's complaint or reaction to point the finger at them, to discredit them, and accuse them of being an instigating aggressor. Oh, you're the troublemaker. Or a false accuser. You're lying and accusing people, innocent people. Or a laughable, crazy person who's just out of touch with reality. They'll pump up a big joke which will dominate perceptions. But who are the ones that are out of touch with reality? The ones who know zero facts or intelligent analysis, right? Those are the ones who are really out of touch with reality. But no one's going to, I know reality, I know what everyone's saying, and that's what's real, right? Which is a joke, but that's what they believe. All right, now the CIA, FBI have attacked my property, they've attacked my car, they screwed with my car about 25 times, maybe 26, right? And my body since 2007, pretty much daily with toxic mold, right? Playing their dirty games. Now, people can say, "Oh, it's in your house." No, it's everywhere I go. They follow me everywhere in Chicago. I tried to escape everywhere throughout Chicago, and all throughout the suburbs, because you can take the trains on one pass, anywhere in both Chicago and in the surrounding suburbs, right? A monthly pass. And I tried to escape. Within 30 minutes, they'd be whacking a new place, and I got to go somewhere else. Right? This is when I was trying to write my novel, but which has maximum deniability, and thus can be discredited. All right. I'll explain why mold has maximum deniability later. I may do a lecture series on the mold. I don't know. We'll see. Now, thousands of people have had collateral exposure when the CIA whacked me in public. They whacked me in public, right? And they've complained. But the masses remember 0 times. None of it sticks, so it's like, what? You're crazy. No one's ever complained. They remember nothing. Go ahead and state one time. Well, never happened, as far as I know. And now, in this lecture series, I will teach you 8 examples of how the CIA messed with my car, and then turn my complaint against me to accuse me of being 1, a crazy or paranoid person, 2, a vicious false accuser, right? Or 3, being the laughing stock joke, right? And in any case, if you do any of these, you undermine my credibility, right? So no one believes me based upon what? Nothing. No facts or intelligent analysis. Just this that they manufactured, right? And they've done thousands of these games, right? And people are going to say, "What? That's crazy. That never happened to me. I can't see that happening," right? Well, you haven't had this done to you thousands of times, right? And I'm super smart. I sound like I'm bragging, but I am smart. I figured these out right away. First time they do it, I think, okay, that's what they're doing, right? All right. A few of the examples involve network theory, so I'll touch upon network theory briefly to give you a quick understanding of how the CIA used network theory to manipulate people that they use as pawns. All right? The masses will say, "Impossible, crazy, I can't be played like that," right? And this is typical run-of-the-mill stuff for spies. In every country, right, they do it all the time. It's typical stuff. That's what spies do. All right. Will a lot of people attack this? Absolutely. A lot of people are just dying to scream, "Bullshit! That's not possible. No one could do that. Conspiracy theory, crazy. That's never been done to me. Right? Why is it done to you? Right? Never been done to anyone I know. Right? So it can't be done to you." Now, how will they attack? Probably with a mocking joke. I mean, that's all they need. no facts, no intelligent analysis, just a simple, stupid joke to ridicule and then share with others to get social reinforcement, which then makes a big wave of everyone passing it, which that always dominates perception of truth. Everyone's saying it, so that must be true. We got a big wave. No one admits this, but they all fall for this. I swear. It's like human nature. It's some instinctive thing. Right? You think people are smarter than this, but they all fall for this all the time. It doesn't matter how many times I teach social reality. Everyone's going to fall for it every time. If it's a big wave, it's true. Others will attack. You're bullshit. Why would the CIA go through the trouble to screw with you? They don't screw with me, and I'm just as important as you. So why bother? So why they do this to you? Right? I don't know. Why am I the only person in the entire world who's recorded with surveillance equipment 24/7 everywhere I go, right? And then shown to the whole world? Now, I expect that there's people who are under surveillance 24/7, right? But no one is shown private things to the whole world 24/7. Everything I do and say is recorded, right? Can you imagine how abusive that life would be if you had to go through this, right? There's nothing you could do in private. Everything is there. It's open to attack, right? Why am I the only person in the whole world who has a worldwide social network dedicated and used only for me, right? To gossip about me, to attack me, right? I mean, who else in the whole world has a worldwide social media network only for them? No one. I mean, look at Trump. Trump is always using Twitter, but that's for everyone in the world who wants to use it. It's not one person. Twitter's not Trump's network. Oh, but I have one only for me. Only person in the world. Wait, does that seem like it's normal? Does that seem like they have a motive here? Does that seem like they're trying to do something here? Is this like screwing with me? Why am I the only person in the whole world who has a computer read by anyone in the world 24/7 at any time? Why are you listening to this and reading this right now? Right? Oh, that's the nerd one. No. It's not to no one except me. Who in the whole world has the whole world reading it? No one. Right? So, do you think they got a motive? Right? Just imagine the massive effort and money and manpower to develop and conduct these three. Just these three, right? Over the last 32 years. I mean, just take cameras and microphones, for instance. When this first started back in 1989, all right, they didn't have cameras everywhere, right? They installed cameras everywhere I went, right? And in fact, early on, I would go to different places throughout the whole city. I was in Denver. I drive my car everywhere. Go to this new McDonald's or wherever, right? Knowing that they're gonna have to install cameras to watch me. I'm like, okay, I'll let them waste money. But then I figured I'm just wasting taxpayers' money, so I said, screw it. And they would show up. They'd always show up in an electrical van. It'd be like an electrical contractor van. Every time I go to a new McDonald's or Burger King or whatever. Those are just things that everyone is shown. These things right here, right? And the masses, they think that they're shown everything. Well, they think this is totally normal, right? Why? Because they see it all the time. So it is kind of normal to them. But it is not normal. It is not done to anyone else in the whole world except me. All three of these. So there's nothing normal about it. But they're like, oh, I see that every day, so that's normal. Right? That's what they... And then they think, oh, everything I see is everything that there is to be shown. They're not keeping back anything from me. Right? And the masses tend to think that they're being shown everything, when all the CIA dirty stuff is done behind the scenes. But the masses will say, that's crazy, because it never happened to me or anyone I know, so it can't happen to you. Right? Yeah. Well, none of this happens to anyone except me. All right. So this is the example, like a summary of the examples, the 8 examples. I'm going to skip this. I'll just go to this is the most recent one they did just a couple years ago. I'm going to skip that. I'm going to go to one that kind of stands out in my mind because it was somewhat elaborate and it had a big effect. I swear, people all around. I mean, it was like they wanted to run me out of town. They hated me so much. Literally, there was like people were so full of hate after this one, right? The way they were glaring at me, I was like, damn, right? Oh my God, it's pretty hateful. All right, so it happened at a library. This is not the actual library. This is just a sample library here. And these are not actual cars, but you get the idea here. All right, this is pretty much my car. It's not my car, but it's the same model and year, same color. I had a red Toyota Celica, all right, and this is the exact same interior here. All right, I'll explain this stuff. All right, so this happened in the spring of 1991. I was in grad school. This is my last semester in a master's degree in sociology. All right, so spring semester in grad school. I went to no. I want to. What did I say? I went to the community library, not the university library. All right, and so I get in my car. It starts perfectly fine, drives perfectly fine, and I get to the library, and it's spring, it's nice outside, and I'm feeling kind of lazy and really unmotivated, so I can't focus, right? And I'm like, about an hour there, I didn't really get anything done. I was like, man, I'm just going to go home, right? So I go to leave, I get in my car, and, insert the key, and it's completely dead, right? No lights, no sounds, nothing, right? Turn the ignition, nothing, nothing, right? All right, so here I'm listing the probabilities of this happening. I say, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to calculate the overall probability of all these happening, like back to back, like they did, right? And you'll see the number I get. This is the chances of winning the lottery, 292 million to 1. This is the chances of all these happening, right? So this is like way more than winning. In fact, right, what this is this is winning the lottery once. This is, you got to win the lottery this many times, not just once, not just twice. I mean, think of how difficult it is to win the lottery once. Think about how way more difficult it'd be to win the lottery twice. Think about having to win the lottery this many times. It's insane. There's no way that this is accidental. This is man-made, totally man-made. All right. So I say, well, what are the chances that my car just goes completely dead after being perfectly fine, after sitting an hour there, right? 1 hour, right? I say, 1 out of 100 chances. Now, I think that's super fair because this is really 1 out of every 50 times you drive your car. Why? Because, whenever you drive your car, you're going someplace. Get out of your car, do your whatever, go to the store, go to the gym, whatever, you get, and then you go back in. So you start your car twice, right? So really, it's every 50 times you use your car, it's totally dead, right? Now that doesn't happen. If you had a car like that, I mean, it'd never sell again, or you get a new one. I mean, it's a crap car, right? So 1 out of every 50 times your car totally dies. So I think this is totally fair, right? Now, this is not the first time the CI screwed in my car, right? So I immediately figured, okay, they got me again. I'm sitting there thinking, man, bastards, they got me again, right? So I just sat there and I thought about what I should do. Right then, a young woman in her early 20s, she must have been like 22 or 3, right? She pulls up in a car, 1 car away from me, so she can't even see me. So here's my car, right? I'm off to the side a little bit. Here's another car that's parked next to me. This spot's open. She pulls in right here, right? More in front of the library doors. Now, if you drive to the library, you get out of your car, what do? You go into the library, right? There's nothing else around. It's not like there's a strip mall or whatever. There's only the library here, right? So, does she do that? No. She gets out and she walks directly to my car, right? Right? Not, let's see, what do I say here? Right, a young woman comes up, right? Now, if you drive to the library, you get out and walk to the library door. Instead, she gets out and walks directly to my car. Now, how would she even know I was in the car, right? With a car in between, right? I'm thinking, how would she even know that, right? So instead of going, she comes straight to my car, and then she says this, "Oh, you having trouble starting your car?" I'm like, "What?" And I was taken aback. So I was like, "Yeah." I was just being honest, right? And she says, "Oh, pop the hood." And again, I was taken aback. I was like, "Oh, okay, right?" Now, just as an aside, she was wearing a big black bow in her hair, right? And back then, the women who were involved in surveilling me and so forth, or doing it, right? They'd all wear these big black bows. I mean, big, super big and gaudy, like 10-inch wide bows. It's like obnoxiously gaudy, big, right? So she's got that in her hair. I'm thinking, okay, she's probably one of. It's almost like gang colors, you know? Right? This is the CIA women's gang, right? I swear. All right. They would do that just to signify who they are, right? And then if you say something, "Oh, you're crazy! Everyone wears black bows, big, like 10 inches wide." Yeah, that's a style. All right. Anyways, that's off to the side. That's a minor thing. So she comes to my car. Why the hell she would do? Right? Oh, right. You having trouble starting your car? How would she even know I'm trying to start my car? How would she know that it's? I'm just sitting there at this point thinking, "What the hell am I going to do?" Now, I could be on my lunch break. I could be waiting for someone. I could be just chilling out, you know, relaxing, daydreaming, whatever. Why would she think I'm trying to start my car? And why would she think I'm having trouble when I'm not even trying? So she pops the hood, right? All right, so I say this. Now, what are the chances? What are the chances that someone comes up to you? You're sitting in your car, I don't know, maybe you're on your lunch break or whatever, right? Whatever, maybe you're waiting for someone, you know, in a store, right? And someone comes up to you, "Oh, you having trouble starting your car?" You're like, what? What are you talking about? Why are you even talking to me? Right? Right? I say 1 in 1,000. I think that's generous. 1 in 1,000 times you're sitting, I mean, that never happens. Think about it. That never happens. Who takes the time to bother? Who even bothers to look at you? Maybe a guy who would, if like it's a really hot girl in the car or something like that, or vice versa, right? But that's the only reason, right? Or maybe because a person like ugly is, I don't know, right? But no one's going to even bother noticing you, let alone saying, "Oh, you having trouble starting your car," when you're just sitting there, right? So I'm saying, I think that's generous. Now, so I popped the hood with a little lever, right? And then she there's a latch here. She lifts it up, right? And without any hesitation, she reaches for this lock clip on a battery cable, hanging about a foot below the battery top, out of sight, so I didn't even know it was there. So here's my battery, right? No hesitation. I mean, if I was helping a person for the first time, I'd have to even like look around for the battery. Where the hell's the battery? Oh, there it is. Okay. She goes straight for this cable about a foot below the battery, right? Lifts it up so I can see her, right? Because when the hood is up, there's like a crest, a curve thing there, and I'm looking below there. I'm like, I don't trust her. I'm suspicious as hell. I know these people screwed with me before. She's wearing a black bow, right? So I'm looking at her. She lifts it up to here, this height, so I can see it, and she snaps it together. Right? Right? Now, these things never come apart. These are lock clips. See the big barbs here? Right? They're meant to lock in. And have you ever tried getting these apart when you want to get them apart? You got to pry them one side out with a screwdriver. You get that side pried out. Then you go and try to pry out the other side. And then when it wiggles, this side snaps back in. You're like, damn. And then you got to go, right? You got to struggle to get these apart. They never come apart on their own. Never. Right? All right. So it's apart, and she snaps it together. As soon as she snaps it together, all lights return full power. All the noise, ding, ding, whatever. I forget the sound of my bell, right? But the noise comes back. The lights come back, but it's fading fast, right? It's like, ooh, or, the lights are dimming fast. The sound is dimming fast, right? So I'm like, oh shit, right? And I'm looking at my dashboard, thinking, what the hell? Oh, like what's going on? Oh, there must be a big short somewhere, and it's draining power fast, right? So I get on my car, I go to my battery, right? And I want to disconnect the battery because I think it's going to kill the battery, right? If it drains it that fast, right? So I go on, but when I get out of the car, guess what? That girl's nowhere to be seen. That was only like less than a minute, just a few moments, maybe like 30 seconds or less. That I was sitting there like, what the hell's going on, right? Again, she's gone. Who does that? No goodbye, no good luck, no see you later. She's just gone. Like she ran off, right? She didn't want to get punched in the mouth or something like that. I was pissed off and knew, right? Probably. She was coached in this. Get the hell out of there, right? He may retaliate against you, right? Because he's going to know something's up here. All right. So I undo the battery, right? And now, what are the chances? What are the chances of this happening? I say 1 in a million. Think about it. This is super jet. What are the chances she's going to come up and say, oh, pop the hood, and then she goes immediately for something that I don't even know exists? It's out of sight, so I don't even know this is there, this clip, right? And then she pulls it up so I can see it, snaps it together without any hesitation. All power comes back, so that fixes it. Oh, but there's a short, right? How does this clip come apart, right? So what are the chances that she knows, right? I mean, right? There's no way she knows this. It's not her car. It's my car, and I don't even know this thing exists. I never had to deal with it. It's out of sight, right? I say 1 in a million. I think that's fair, right? I mean, there's like zero chance she's going to know. Honestly, if it were me, right? If it were me, I'd be like, oh shit. Right? Well, one, these clips never come apart. Why would you look to do that first? They never come apart. Right? They're designed never to come apart. Right? If it were me and I'm helping someone, I'd like, open up the hood and like, damn, I'm lost. Get this towed. I'd say my suggestion would be get this towed to AutoZone. They'll put it on a tester for free. Right? Don't take it to a shop. Take it to AutoZone and then you can fix it yourself. I mean that's the best recommendation I'd give. Right? I'd be like, shit, I don't know what's going on here. Where do I start? I don't know. Right? So she goes, snap, right. Now, what are the chances these lock clips come apart? They never do. Never. It's like zero. But I say 1 in a million. Okay, somehow, I mean, it's not going to vibrate apart. It's not going to, there's no tension on this, pulling it apart. All right? And then you pull it apart. This is not going to come, the wires will rip out before this comes apart. This is strong. Right? I mean, 1 in a million. I think that's fair. So then I removed the battery cables to save the battery, and I didn't see any corrosion. All right. Also, my dad, when I was a kid, he taught me a trick. He said, if you want to avoid corrosion on your battery, you rub Vaseline over the outside here, these connectors, right? Keeps the oxygen out and, prevents corrosion, right? So I did that. And I mean, I didn't look carefully, but I didn't see any corrosion, right? Right. All right. So then I was like, well, what the hell, man? I don't know where I'm gonna find this thing. I'm like, I'll just tow it to the Toyota dealer. I was going to Colorado State in Fort Collins, and there was one Toyota dealer in town, so I had it towed there for repair. They called me up the next day, hey, your car's ready. So I go to pick it up, right? And they told me that, it was only rusted contacts on the back. I'm like, I don't remember rust. I mean, maybe, but I don't remember, right? And they said, battery's dead, right? So, I said, I don't think I saw any corrosion, right? And the cashier hands me the bill, and she forgets to include the battery. The most expensive thing, the battery was about $100. The most expensive thing on the bill was a battery, more than labor, right? So I immediately suspected I'm being set up because, CIA have done this shit before, right? I know here's what I'm thinking. I'm standing in their lobby, right? And I get the bill, and I immediately think, oh, damn, look at, they didn't charge me for the battery. And my first instinct was like, shit, right? I shouldn't have to pay for this. I may walk out. But then I was thinking, you know what? Right? That's exactly what the CIA want me to do. All right? They know, the CIA know that I know they did this to me. They know that I know this, right? It's obvious, right? So that will increase my desire to feel justified and say, man, I'm going to walk out. I mean, but Toyota didn't screw with my car. I'd be screwing them, right? But I'd be mad, so I'd feel justified, right? So, and then I'm thinking this, you know what? They think there's a high probability I'll walk out without paying for it. And then they're going to go and drag that bill in front of everyone. They'll pass it throughout the whole network and say, hey, look, he didn't pay for his battery. He's a cheat. He's a stealer. He's a thief, right? Don't believe him. Why would you believe a thief, a petty thief like this, right? And you know what? No one in social reality, in the network would ask, well, wait a minute. How do they know about it, right? Or maybe they would have like the cashier passes or some crap like that. Well, why was she? I don't know, right? So I'm thinking they're trying to set me up. Maybe they were, maybe they weren't, right? But I'm thinking they were. So I go to the girl, right? She's a young girl too, like early 20s also, and she's standing behind this glass booth, like it's a friggin' bank or something like that, right? Where you pass the paper through the little slot, whatever. And I say, hey, you forgot to add the battery. And then she gets all nervous. She's like shaking, and she's like, wait, what do I do, right? She's like indecisive for a minute there, right? Like, what the hell, man? Just fix the damn thing, right? And then so she fixes it, and then I pay for the whole damn thing, right? And then I get in my car. Oh, you know what I say? And if I'm a thief, no one would believe me. It's like the common method to discredit of accusing a person of shoplifting. They've done this to a number of, let me think, 3 military people who complained about the Vietnam War. They did this too. Colonel Herbert, Colonel Hackworth, and a guy named Miller, Medal of Honor winner. I know from reading their stories, they accused all 3 of these. They did this to me too in the 1990s when I was doing my research on Vietnam, right? They accused me of shoplifting, right? Now, right? The idea is, if you're a shoplifter, you're a petty thief. Why would you trust him in like big information? The guy's gonna steal like stuff off a shelf, right? But at the same time, if you're a shoplifter, it's such a petty thing, they don't have to take you to court. Well, we'll let it slide, right? Because if they take you to court, they have no evidence, and it's slammed back in their face as false accusation, right? So they get away with it scot-free. They get to smear you with no consequences to themselves, right? So that's the same thing. I figured they were doing that. Anyways, so I get in my car, and I'm driving in the parking lot of the Toyota dealer. I get to, and it seems fine, I'm not noticing anything. I'm going real slow. I'm not even really pressing the gas, right? And then I accelerate into the street, but as soon as I accelerate the street, my tachometer is going, and my speedometer is going nowhere. I'm going like 5 miles an hour, and my speedometer is going, right? So my clutch is totally burnt out, right? Now, it's totally destroyed. I only had about 45,000 miles in the car at the time, and I had babied the clutch. I wanted to stretch it up. I wasn't like doing fast starts. I always press the gas, just enough, right, so that the car doesn't conk out, and then you get the clutch engaged, and then you accelerate. So I'm doing maybe 12, 15,000 RPM or 1,500 RPM. right? I mean, right? And then I released the clutch slowly. I was really babying it, just like I baby my brakes, so I don't have to replace them, right? I glide more, and so I was doing it, right? So my clutch is perfectly fine. The key thing is my clutch is perfectly fine the day before, and now overnight, for no reason, it's perfectly destroyed, totally destroyed, right? And I don't know if the CIA snuck in at night or if they networked people to got them to do this, right? They can do it either way. And I'll get to network theory, how the CIA can get people to do dirty shit that they won't otherwise do, right? I'll show you how they do that, right? You think, oh, you can't get me to do that. You want to bet? They'll get you to do it, and they'll get you to think that you did a good deed for the day, right? That you deserve a pat in the back. You go to bed sleeping well, thinking, man, I did my good deed for today. I helped society. I helped, whatever, right? I'll show you how they do that. So then I was like, oh, man, they got my car. I'm not going to take it in the shop again because they'll just screw something else. So I went to the auto parts store. I rolled my bike there. I bought a clutch. And then the next day I tried to fix it myself. I jacked it up with a tire change jack. You barely have any room to. I took everything off. I took the drive shaft off, right? I took all the bolts off for the transmission. But the transmission was rust frozen on. And I'm like pushing at it. I've only got maybe like half an inch of leeway. It's pressed on my chest, the transmission. I'm just trying to get I couldn't get it out. So there's a gas station right down the street from where I lived that had a shop. I saw the hydraulic lifts there. Yeah, it had a tow truck. So I'm like, okay, I'll call these guys. If they say they can fix it right now, as I watch them, so I know that there's no shenanigans here, right? I'll let them do that, right? So they did it and they fixed it. The guy fixed it. It cost like $450 or something like that, right? And then I drove my car home. Then the next day, I wanted to go to the gym and then go grocery shopping, right? And everywhere. So what happened was this. So I went to my car, right? And the car door is cracked open, right? And I didn't think anything of that. Like, oh, whatever, right? And then I go to start my car. The car is totally dead, right? Just got it fixed, right? Brand new battery, paid $100 for it. It's dead, right? Because the car door is cracked open. Now, never in the 14 years since I was driving, because I was about 30 at the time, right? And I started driving at 16. As soon as you can get your driver's permit, I was driving. So I was driving for 14. Never have I left the car door cracked open. I mean, you always hear when it's not fully closed, right? You kind of tell the feel and also, the sound of it, right? Never have I left it cracked open, right? But okay, let's say I did it by accident. Right? What are the chances of this happening, right? Well, what's 14 years? Driving every damn day for 14 years, right? So 14 times 365, that's 10,220 years. So 1 out of 10,220 times. All right, so I made a mistake this time, right? 1 time out of 10, right? That's the probability, right? I mean, I'm sure I didn't do this, right? They did this to jack me again. So at this point, with all this stuff done, right? I had enough, and I'm kind of pissed. So I call my brother on my home phone. It was a landline. I didn't have a cell phone back then. This is like 91. This is 91, right? I mean, they came out with like these big GY Joe walkie-talkie things back then, right? And they're expensive. And so I call my brother, and I'm venting, and he's like, "What? This all sounds crazy, right? Right? And that call is recorded when I've committed no crime. It's tapped into when I've committed no crime. I'm not suspected of doing anything, right? As opposed to like if a person, if the cops get authorization from a judge, they have a wiretap or something like that, right? Well, I'm not suspected of anything. I've done nothing, right? Why they? So I say. So let's say they've done this wrongly to me. Now I'm thinking, how often do they do this in a population? Let's say in a city, right? Let's say Fort Collins, I don't know what Fort Collins is. Maybe it's like 100,000, right? So let's say they do this to 10 people a year or something like that, right? They falsely wiretap 10 people out of 100,000. I mean, yeah, out of 100,000. So that's 1 out of 10,000. Right? I think that's fair. Right? To falsely wiretap me. Right? They don't do this to everyone. Right? Falsely. I mean, they can do it properly if you're a criminal, right? Or like a freaking terrorist suspect, or I don't know, whatever, right? I've done nothing. Right? And then that call is passed within an hour throughout the entire social network all around me. And I went to the gym, and I went to the grocery store, and everywhere I went, people are just furious at me. Right? It's passed everywhere. People know me everywhere. I don't know them, but they all know me, right? Because they created a network, right? Don't tell me they don't network. Oh, that's crazy. They network you. Well, everyone knows me. They network to everyone. How is that? I don't know all these people, and they're all hateful. I mean, you just see it in their eyes. They're furious, mad. They're giving you these evil stares, long, evil stares with this meanness and anger, right? Angry eyes. I'm like, damn, what the hell, right? So I'm thinking the liars must have, because a lot of times they pass a joke. Everyone's laughing at you, right? They'll do that. So I'm thinking they must have passed something like, hey, everyone has car problems, right? Who is he? He's a vicious, false, accusing liar who blames others for problems that occur naturally to everyone. Everyone has car problems. Who's he blaming other people? Right? The evil bastard, they're saying. Right? So now, all these people, do they know all this that happened? No, they know none of this that happened. They just know, oh, he had car problems. Right? Do they calculate any of the probabilities? They don't even know what happened. Right? Hell no. And do they remember any details if I teach it to them? No. It's like in one ear, out the other. Alright? So, even after I teach it, oh, that sounds crazy. Right? Right? I can easily be attacked. You're crazy. That never happened. Right? What? It makes no sense. Right? Now, do you remember any of the facts? There are only 9 simple facts here. It's not like complex history with like 200-300 facts that I give you, right? Only 9. You should remember every single one. But do you? You should remember every single one. All right. Anyways. And what about all the probabilities? Do you remember all these probabilities? Now, like I say, right? Basic probability. If you have all these occur together, what are the chances of all these happening almost simultaneously back to back? Right? You multiply the probabilities. So, the chances of winning the Powerball lottery is 292 million to 1. One chance in 200, right? Right? The chance of all this happening is 1 out of this huge, crazy number. You multiply this all together, right? Now, winning the lottery once is super hard, right? Winning it twice would be crazy hard. This is winning the lottery this many times. Alright? I'd have to win the lottery this many times to equal the probability of all this happening as an accident. What does that mean? There's no way this is an accident. This is totally man-made. You know what? A lesser probability is just like how they whack me with viruses. Right? An exact same pattern. In 5 days, you got rhinovirus. Then 5 days later, adenovirus. Then 5 days later, another virus, right? And they do that again a month later, right? What's the chances of that happening naturally? Exactly 5 days. In the same exact order. Oh, bullshit. Anyways, the people are going to say, you're crazy. People get sick. Fuck. That's... God. So look at the impossible probabilities. I know you remember none of this, right? I'd have to explain the whole damn thing again. And, you know, what could, right? Anyway, so did it work? Yeah. Everyone thought I was a vicious, false accusing liar. What does that do? It attacks credibility. Does anyone believe you after that? Hell no. Right? Do they know any of the facts of what you teach? Hell no. It doesn't matter. This dominates everything. He's a liar. He's a false accuser. It works. I'll show you 7 more of these. Right? I'll show you. They did another short. I'll show you related ones. This happened many years later. This happened like 2009 or so. No, 10 maybe. 2009, I guess. 2010, I guess. And they put another short in my car. My brother found it. I was really sick. This is when they're torturing me with toxic mold bad. I was super sick. Barely walking, just barely feeling like I'm alive. And I couldn't fix my car. Normally I change my brakes myself. Took a medicine to change my brakes, but I like, you know. Anyways, I'll tell you about this one. They put another short in the starter motor, right? Here's why. I'll show you this later. All right, so that's it for this lecture, and I guess I'll keep this. I don't want to do it again, so I'll keep this.